Some of the biggest songs in history didn't start as global smashes. They started as problems. They talked about faith, sex, rebellion, identity, and ended up banned, boycotted, or literally burned in protest. Here's the irony. The more they were forbidden, the louder the world wanted to listen. This is the story of 10 forbidden songs that defied silence and changed music forever. Number 10. Closer, 9 Inch Nails. Trent Reznor didn't write Closer to get on the radio. He wrote it to get something poisonous out of his system. It's a violent, erotic confession wrapped in industrial noise, built around a chorus so explicit it still makes people flinch. You let me violate you. Plenty of stations refused to touch the uncensored version at all. MTV only agreed to air Mark Romanek's video late at night, and even then it was chopped up and blurred. Religious symbols, nudity, medical imagery, and strange, unsettling tableaus all scrubbed just enough to technically pass. Even with that, the song still forced its way onto the charts. The single reached number 41 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is almost unheard of for something this aggressive and uncommercial. Reznor has said it wasn't meant to be shocking for shock's sake. It was him being honest about desire, self-loathing, and power. That honesty hit a nerve. Fans heard their own darkness in it. The uproar didn't kill the downward spiral. It launched it. The album became one of the defining records of the 90s and locked Reznor in as the face of beautiful discomfort. Closer proved that sometimes the truth sounds obscene, and the more you try to censor it, the more people lean in to listen. Number 9. God Save the Queen, Sex Pistols. God Save the Queen wasn't a protest song tucked in metaphors. It was a brick through the window. In the middle of Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee celebrations, the Sex Pistols dropped a single calling Britain a fascist regime. God save the Queen! The fascist regime! And shredding the idea that everyone was proud and united. The BBC banned it. Big retailers wouldn't stock it. Many radio stations outright refused to play it. But punks hunted it down anyway. No future for you! The single shot up the UK charts and officially stalled at number 2, though to this day, fans and some historians believe it was deliberately kept out of the top spot to avoid the optics of a banned punk record at number 1. God save the Queen! 'Cause tourists are money! Johnny Rotten later said it wasn't anti-Britain, it was anti-lies. A refusal to pretend things were fine when they weren't. Trying to silence the song only made it louder. God Save the Queen turned the Pistols from a scandal into a symbol. Proof that punk wasn't just about noise and safety pins, it was about refusing to play along with the script. They didn't just break the rules, they made the rules look fake. Number 8. Relax. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax, don't do it. It sounded harmless enough on first listen. Then people heard the rest. Relax, don't do rest. When you wanna go to rest, relax. When BBC DJ Mike Reed realized live on air that the lyrics weren't about chilling out, but about explicit sexual release, he stopped the record mid-broadcast and slammed it. Within days, the BBC banned the song from radio and TV. They refused to play it on Top of the Pops while it was rising, thinking the blackout would slow it down. Instead, it detonated. When you wanna go. Relax rocketed to number 1 in the UK and stayed there for 5 weeks, hanging around the top 40 for most of the year. Clubs never stopped spinning it, and the ban itself became a running joke among fans. Frontman Holly Johnson has admitted the outrage was basically the best free press they could have asked for. What was meant to be suppressed turned into the soundtrack of club culture: leather, neon, sweat, and defiance. Relax showed that censorship doesn't always act like a muzzle. Sometimes it's a megaphone turned all the way up. Number 7. Physical, Olivia Newton-John.
You said all the things that
Looking back, Physical feels tame next to what came later. But in 1981, it hit like a scandal. Olivia Newton-John, whose image had been sweet and wholesome, suddenly sang lines like, "There's nothing left to talk about unless it's horizontally," and nervous programmers freaked out. Some US and international stations banned it or played heavily edited versions. In places like South Africa, broadcast copies toned down or altered parts because of the sexual content. Olivia didn't apologize. She leaned into the absurdity. The music video turned the whole thing into a cheeky gym and aerobics parody, full of sweatbands, gags, and tongue-in-cheek innuendo. The song went on a 10-week run at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, the longest for any single in the entire 1980s, and was later named Billboard's top single of that decade. The companion video collection, Olivia Physical, even earned a Grammy for Video of the Year, proving just how massive the whole physical era had become. Olivia said she found the whole thing more cheeky than dirty, and audiences agreed. Her charm turned controversy into something fun. Physical proved you could push the line, wink at it, and still walk away with the decade's biggest hit. Number 6. Like a Prayer, Madonna.
Life is a mystery.
When Madonna dropped Like a Prayer, she didn't stumble into controversy. She walked straight toward it. The video mixed burning crosses, stigmata-like imagery, and a black saint figure intertwined with her in a church-like space. It was designed to provoke a reaction, and it did.
When you call my name, it's like a little prayer.
Catholic groups and the Vatican condemned it, accusing her of blasphemy. Pepsi, which had bankrolled a massive ad campaign around the song, pulled their commercial after the backlash. But Madonna kept the money and the song.
Hear your voice. It's like an
Meanwhile, the single itself exploded, hitting #1 in the US, the UK, and multiple other countries, and becoming one of her signature tracks.
I close my eyes. Oh God,
Critics often point to Like a Prayer as the moment she fully fused pop hooks with religious and political provocation, creating art that made people dance and argue at the same time.
when you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down.
Madonna has said that art should unsettle as much as it soothes, and Like a Prayer is that idea pressed into 4.5 minutes. By the end of 1989, it wasn't just another pop hit. It was a cultural fault line you either stood on or reacted against. Number 5. Smack My Bitch Up, The Prodigy. If you ask people to name one song that defines peace, chances are you'll hear this one. Imagine. John Lennon wrote it as a quiet dream, a vision of a world without borders, possessions, or religion to divide us. Beautiful, right? But not everyone saw it that way.
Imagine there's no heaven.
During the early 1970s, some governments treated it like a threat. South Africa's apartheid regime called it anti-religious and banned it outright. Later, during the Gulf War and even after 9/11, a few US networks quietly pulled it from playlists, saying it was too sensitive. It's ironic. A song literally about unity feared for being too powerful.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
To millions, Imagine is hope in its purest form, but to those clinging to control, it was almost revolutionary. And maybe that's why it still cuts so deep, because imagining peace has always been the most radical act of all.
And the world will live as one.
Number 4. Jeremy, Pearl Jam. Jeremy wasn't written to shock the world. It was written because Kurt Cobain wasn't the only one reading dark headlines. Eddie Vedder saw a news story about a Texas teenager who had taken his own life in front of his classmates and couldn't shake it. That haunting article became the seed for Jeremy, a song about a kid swallowed by isolation and anger.
At home, drawing pictures of mountain tops.
Director Mark Pellington's video turned that feeling into imagery you couldn't forget. Stark colors, disturbing drawings, a classroom full of frozen children, and a final scene that MTV forced into implication instead of showing the act directly.
Daddy didn't give attention.
MTV cut explicit shots of the gun and clamped down on how often and when the video could air, trying to balance the song's popularity with fear of copycats and complaints. Even so, Jeremy won Video of the Year at the 1993 MTV Video Music Awards and became one of the defining visuals of the grunge era. As school shootings became more common in later decades, some outlets quietly retired the clip altogether, not because it was forgotten, but because it felt too close to reality. Vedder has said he wanted people to understand how someone like Jeremy gets to that point, not glorify it. The censorship didn't erase the message, it just made the few times people did see the video feel even more intense, like looking briefly into a wound. Number 3. Let's Spend the Night Together, Rolling Stones. By the early 1970s, the Rolling Stones were already experts at troublemaking. But even so, Let's Spend the Night Together made conservative America nervous. The title alone, just those 6 words, had TV executives sweating. The BBC banned it immediately.
Don't you worry about what's on your mind, oh man.
When the Stones performed it on The Ed Sullivan Show, Sullivan himself demanded they change the lyric to Let's Spend Some Time Together. Mick Jagger agreed, sort of. Mid-performance, he rolled his eyes in pure rock and roll defiance, an act that said everything the lyric couldn't. The next morning, the outrage hit headlines everywhere.
You know I'm smiling, baby. Little God.
And just like that, a song the networks wanted to bury became the one everyone wanted to hear. Sometimes the best marketing plan in rock history is a little censorship.
Let's spend the night together now.
Number 2. Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana. Kurt Cobain famously described Smells Like Teen Spirit as his attempt to write a big, dumb rock song. Something in the spirit of the Pixies, loud and hooky, and kind of a parody of arena anthems. He stitched together a jagged riff, a quiet, loud, quiet structure, and a chorus that sounded like pure, distorted frustration. When MTV put the video into heavy rotation, that now iconic scene of a bored high school pep rally turning into a full-blown riot felt like someone had finally filmed how a generation felt inside. Some programmers were wary. The song was noisy, the lyrics were mostly unintelligible, and it carried a weight that didn't sit neatly next to polished pop. It didn't matter. The single climbed to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and turned Nirvana from an underground band into the unwilling flag bearers of a new wave. Within a year, alternative had moved from the margins to the center of pop culture, and Cobain was being credited for blowing up the old order. Cobain later said he never wanted to be a spokesman for anyone. But kids who didn't recognize themselves in safe top 40 ballads heard Teen Spirit and thought, finally, this sounds like me. Partial resistance from cautious stations couldn't stop a song that felt that true to the people who needed it. Number 1. Another Brick in the Wall, Pink Floyd. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. What started as part of Roger Waters' personal story about dehumanizing schooling turned into something much bigger. Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2, fused a disco-inflected groove with a children's choir chanting, "We don't need no education," and it went to number 1 in multiple countries, including the UK and the US. For a lot of kids, it felt like someone had finally put their resentment into a chorus they could shout. In apartheid-era South Africa, that feeling turned into action. Students began using the song at rallies and boycotts against the state's unequal, racist education system. In 1980, the South African government banned the song, calling it subversive and claiming it could fuel unrest. Waters has said the song wasn't about hating teachers as individuals, but about rejecting systems that grind people down. The band only made that message clearer. The chorus became a rallying cry not just against bad schools, but against any system that treats people like interchangeable parts.
We don't need no education.
Decades later, Another Brick in the Wall and Part 2 still gets resurrected whenever people feel boxed in or controlled. What began as one chapter in the wall became a global protest anthem, and proof that sometimes the most powerful act of censorship is the one that accidentally makes a song immortal. These songs weren't supposed to survive. They were banned, censored, mocked, and pushed into the shadows, and somehow that just made them immortal. If you want more stories behind the songs the world tried to silence, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Drop a comment telling which forbidden song shocked you the most, and which one you want to see covered in a future episode.